Welcome back, Irish fans. Breaking Down Braves Boys podcast. Back for my first post-game show ever after a Notre Dame loss. So this one should be interesting. Notre Dame had a chance to get a win there and really blew it down the stretch. Cormac Ryan missed a couple big shots towards the end of the game. Notre Dame kind of botched that last possession. I thought Bray should have kind of let him play. That's kind of what he likes to do a lot of the time, and it's worked out for him in the past, like the Wake Forest game last year. But this year, called a timeout and it didn't work out. Notre Dame is now 2-1, drops their first game in the Maui. We'll play Chaminade tomorrow, Division II team, and then they'll likely get Texas A&M or what's the other? Can't even think right now. Texas A&M or Butler tomorrow or on Wednesday. So, yeah, what could have been a big opportunity for Notre Dame to get a resume win against Oregon, who didn't look very good tonight, and then maybe get a shot at Houston in the championship, all kind of falls down after a rough loss to St. Mary's. I guess we'll get into this loss a little bit. Had a lot of notes, but a lot of it didn't apply after that loss. But I thought Notre Dame wasn't horrible today, also wasn't great. Had some good stretches offensively, but had really flat stretches throughout the game. 4 minutes and 24 seconds in the first half without scoring. Just really went dry at some points. Guys were chucking up bad shots. Weren't attacking when they were attacking. Weren't making plays for other guys. Weren't kicking it out. Just couldn't really get anything going at times offensively. So Notre Dame, I don't think was at their best offensively tonight, but we saw how good they could be. Just weren't consistently. On the defensive end, I thought they were a little bit better today. Saw a little bit of fire from guys like Cormac Ryan, Blake Wesley. But in the end, couldn't stop Dan Fotu when it mattered. Couldn't stop St. Mary's at all when it mattered. You knew St. Mary's wasn't going to score a whole lot because those long possessions wasn't going to give Notre Dame a whole lot of margin for error. When you play St. Mary's, it's mostly up to you as to whether you win or lose. They're going to come out solid every time. You got to outplay what you know St. Mary's is going to bring, and Notre Dame couldn't do that today. I thought the refs weren't great down the stretch, but this was a lot more than the refs. Notre Dame just couldn't really get it done. Had some good stretches, had some bad stretches, and ultimately it was a good game. Notre Dame, I thought, should have won this game going into it. They're more talented than St. Mary's. They're more athletic. St. Mary's, as a senior group, just plays so much more together. They know what they want to run, and they know how to run it. Notre Dame didn't look like that at times. Just plays that senior guards and senior bigs should not be making. Notre Dame's players were making throughout this game. I guess we'll get into some standouts. I thought Cormac, a lot of people will tell you he wasn't good tonight because of the end, and I guess that is a little bit of a factor of it. But Cormac, I thought, was pretty solid throughout the game. You can see he was really confident tonight. I thought early on he was putting the ball on the floor too much, not taking what defense was giving him, the threes, which he should have been taking. But as the game went on, I thought he was really good. And even though he couldn't hit that second free throw, looked like he wanted the ball in his hands and he wanted to be the closer. And I don't think Notre Dame has had too much of that recently. So I'm glad to see Cormac had that. It just didn't really amount to anything. I thought that last possession, even after the missed free throw, wasn't very good. And I don't know why do you come out of a timeout and that's the plan and you have nothing really there. But Paul Atkinson, I thought, was really good as well. When Notre Dame got him the ball and made an effort to get him the ball, the offense looked so much better. When Notre Dame was just jacking up threes, and forgot they had Paul Atkinson, one of the best post scorers in the ACC. That's when things got rough. Yeah, Atkinson was kind of the guy who was riding the ship throughout the game today, and he was making plays pretty much throughout when he had the opportunity to. But I don't think he got that opportunity enough. I think St. Mary's doubling him early kind of scared off Notre Dame, and they couldn't really do much with Atkinson throughout the game, even though he did have some solid stretches. Kind of going to everybody's performing individually now. Bray played 7 guys. I think in a tournament, I mean, I guess it's not really a tournament now. They got the losers bracket, but I think in a tournament you kind of have to go with more than 7. It was close. This is an old group, and you could kind of see Bray went with his experience more. Didn't have too much Blake Wesley action. I'll get into him a little bit later. I don't think that was all Bray. I don't think Blake had that great of a game today, which he's a freshman. I don't blame him. He looked pretty good early and then kind of faded, but Bray really went with his experience here. Elijah Taylor had his jersey off essentially the whole game and never got in. And I'm not sure why Elijah Taylor didn't get in. I thought he would have been a nice bruiser to have down there with his athleticism against a team who doesn't have a whole lot. I thought they should have tried him out on Fotu. He's the guy who can chase him around the 3-point line and just make things harder for him. I thought he kind of should have been out there on him. Notre Dame had no answer for him. And Atkinson and Cormac tried their best on him and still couldn't do anything. So I thought Taylor he should have at least played some spot minutes in my mind, but that's not something that I'm super concerned about tonight. But starting with Prentice Hub for every player, I'm starting to be concerned about Prentice Hub, more so in the short term, this week, and then Illinois, and then the first couple weeks of December. I'm not concerned about Prentice Hub in March. It's November, but if we can't right the ship here by Illinois, then Notre Dame might be in some trouble with Prentice Hub. I mean, just looked rough. I mean, he couldn't hit shots. His confidence didn't look good. He was turning the ball over. Thought his defense actually wasn't that bad. He was moving his feet, doing about as good a job as anybody tonight on that end. I didn't think Cormac was that great defensively. I thought Prentice was put in some bad spots on switches, but I thought he was moving his feet well enough, and wasn't a liability defensively at all. But yeah, I'm starting to get concerned about Prentice Hub. Let me see the final stats for him. Prentice he was 1 for 7, 1 for 4 from 3, and had 6 points. Not the Prentice you want to see, especially in a big game like this, which didn't seem like that big of a game, but Notre Dame absolutely needed to win that game just for their resume. They're probably going to be Chaminade, but nobody really cares. It's a Division II team. That post-game show probably won't do as well as some of the other ones that I've had, but Notre Dame needed to win this game just for their strength of schedule and everything like that. It's a much bigger game than Notre Dame just playing St. Mary's, and the loss here doesn't look good at all for Notre Dame. I thought Notre Dame should have been like a 3 or 4 point favorite in this game, and they dropped it. So tough loss for them. Prentice Hub I think it's a confidence thing with him. I mean, can you blame him? Everywhere he looks, I'm sure I don't think I've heard a good thing about Prentice Hub all year on Twitter, but he's got to right that ship at some point if Notre Dame's going to get to where they need to be. Trey Wirtz, I thought, looked solid in essentially every aspect. Not much more than that, or not much less than that at all tonight. I think we're going to need to see more from him at some point, but more concerned about Prentice and Cormac getting going. Cormac, we went over a lot. Dane, I thought, was pretty good tonight, taking guys off the dribble. The post defense was an issue with him, but Dane Goodwin is not a post defender. He should be a perimeter guy. He just was not in great spots to me. But I thought it was good. He was taking guys off the dribble. He was hitting open looks. You can't ask for much more than that from Dane. I thought he was maybe their best offensive player in the first half. I think he finished with something like 10 points. Yeah, 10 points. I think he had all that in the first half, so it really faded down the stretch. But it was good to get him going early. I don't think you need him to be your number one guy offensively, and he wasn't. But he was good enough tonight, I thought. Blake Wesley came out and it looked like he was going to be firing on all cylinders tonight. Was making plays offensively, was getting after guys defensively, started talking a little bit. You kind of thought, wow, this is going to be a big game for him, and then just goes radio silent for the rest of the night. I'm not sure I agree with Bray pulling him after that After talking a little bit, I think that really messed with Blake. And it seemed like every time, one of their main recruiting pitches to him, based on his interviews, was, hey, we're not going to pull you after you make a mistake. And look what they did tonight. They pulled him after a mistake. I mean, do I blame them a whole lot? Not really. I mean, this is a close game. You kind of let your experience play here, but I didn't think Blake was that great tonight. You could see the potential, obviously, though. You could still see he's making plays. Even late in the game, he found Cormack. He found Prentice. If Prentice hit that shot, that Blake find would have been a lot more noted. I thought I just really love his aggressiveness. But he still has his lumps. Obviously, I think he finished with 5 points. It was really only good for that first stretch. So not Blake's best game by any stretch. But he'll learn. He'll have his games. He'll have his lumps. And I think we'll just ride with that. I think towards the end of the year, we're going to see him be more consistent. But for now, I think we're going to have to deal with some of these games, which is normal for any freshman, even a one-and-done type guy like Bancaro or Chet Holmgren. Even they've had their lumps. Peyton Watson's had his lumps. Everybody has their lumps as a freshman, especially in November, so I'm not super worried about him. Nate Laszewski, someone who I'm close to being officially concerned about. I thought he rebounded really well tonight. Got a couple rebounds where I was like, wow, it's a big boy rebound. But if he doesn't have a solid rest of the week at least, I'm officially concerned about him. Just didn't think he was radio silent the whole first half, had 0 points, and then what do you have in the second? He had 2 points in the second half. I mean, Nate was their leading scorer for pretty much all of late 2020, and then just hasn't done anything to start this year. Had 10 points last game. I don't even know if he scored against Cal State Northridge. Just a brutal start for Nate Laszewski and Prentice Hub, which if you were talking to me about that a few weeks ago before the season started, I wouldn't have expected. National media certainly wouldn't have expected it. Seems like those are the only 2 guys on their radar. But, yeah, didn't think Nate was great tonight. I think he has developed in other aspects other than scoring, but he's still got to find a role in this offense and become more confident shooting the ball. And then Paul Atkinson, let me see if I have anything new on him. I don't really have much. I thought he was pretty good tonight. Just needed more opportunities. And I thought he needed to be a little more aggressive at times. His defense wasn't great, but he was also forced on it on the perimeter a little bit. I saw him pass up a wide open 3. So I guess this 3-point shooting isn't where I heard it could be this offseason. So that's take that for what it's worth. I guess it's good that he isn't shooting a whole lot down the stretch of a close game. But, yeah, that's kind of all I have. This was a tough loss for Notre Dame. They're really going to have to right the ship at some point. Tomorrow's not a big opportunity for them, but Wednesday they're going to need something. They're going to need to beat whoever they're playing, Butler or Texas A&M. They're going to need to win that game. And we'll have coverage of both those games over the next 2 days. So be sure to tune in. We want to make this the place for Notre Dame men's basketball postgame to be. So thank you guys for watching. This was my first postgame show after Notre Dame loss. Thought it was okay. Definitely going to keep improving as the season goes on. Hopefully won't have too many more of these shows. But if Notre Dame doesn't improve like I know they can, this could be somewhat common occurrence. So thank you guys for watching. Go Irish. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow night after Notre Dame plays their second game of the Vegas Maui Invitational. So thank you guys for watching. Peace. And see you tomorrow.